Happy Sunday, Heat fans. Welcome to the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. Are the Miami Heat making a move soon? Plus, we will react to Game 1 of Heat Summer League and the California Classic between Miami and San Antonio. We'll go through those two topics on today's show. We'll start with the rumors around the Heat in free agency, and it all got sparked last night by Barry Jackson. I took this screenshot of Barry's tweets because he deleted the one that is at the bottom where he just randomly tweeted with no context, "It would behoove the Heat to clear out a roster spot soon." That is all. This came at 11:40 Eastern time. I'm on Central time, so that's why it says 10:40. And then you see what Barry responded to as well. And this set Heat Twitter ablaze. Like, everybody was so curious on why Barry would just randomly tweet out that the Heat should open up a roster spot. And it also did not help himself that he deleted the tweet. Why would he tweet that out and then delete it? And he kind of was talking about why he deleted it later in the night and said he didn't want to cause chaos since he can't give the full information at this time. It was certainly an odd moment late on a Saturday night, but I think we have now realized who Barry was actually referring to in terms of what player would be available to join Miami, and we'll showcase that here in a second. But 76ers Now challenge us to a like battle. Those little scumbags at 76ers Now, Jake Chipper, Chase Sr., said we couldn't top their 341 likes they got on yesterday's video. So let's prove them wrong. Let's top them. Let's get at least 350 plus. I know the Heat Report got my back. So obviously the question is, who is this available player that Miami could go out and sign? We know they're registering interest in Damian Lillard, and that's where my initial thoughts went, right? Like, it was obviously going to be Dame. Like, he has interest in joining Miami, but we've already known that. And then my other thought was Bradley Beal. And I was just like, is that too obvious, though? Like, those two have already been linked to Miami. Why would Barry tweet out that the Heat should create a roster spot soon when we already know that there's mutual interest between Dame and Beal if Bradley actually gets bought out? Well, this morning on Sunday, it was revealed that Barry Jackson was in fact referring to Bradley Beal. John Gambadero reporting that there should be a resolution on Bradley Beal within the next 24 to 48 hours. What does that mean? Yeah, the Phoenix Suns are probably going to buy him out, and he is going to join the free agent list, and Miami is probably going to show interest in the veteran. But honestly, if we're going to be real here, regardless of if you want Bradley Beal, regardless if you want Damian Lillard, the Miami Heat need to create a roster spot. The Heat's roster right now is at the maximum 15 guaranteed standard contracts. That is simply unacceptable, in my opinion, for a team that does not have a good roster and is this early in the offseason. Like, there are just some players on this team that should not have guaranteed roster spots. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like Casper Johnson. I am kind of bullish on his future as well. He should be on a two-way. He has not done enough to earn a guaranteed roster spot as of now. Kevin Love should not be rostered at this day and age in the NBA. We know my thoughts on Terry Rozier, and I would like to free up a roster spot with Simone Fontecchio as well. The point is, this is not a good team. This is a, at best, 9 seed in the play-in who is going to be embarrassed in the first round again. And if that is your ceiling, you should not be harboring 3 players on your roster with a guaranteed contract that are not that talented at this point. Like, I like Casper Johnson for the future, and we'll get into Summer League here in a second. But if you have a guaranteed roster spot and are not a rookie, you should be dominating Summer League. Casper Johnson went 3 of 7 at 8 points yesterday and was just a okay role player in that game. Like, that should not earn himself a guaranteed roster spot. Like, I would rather have an open spot right now and have him on a two-way deal with the potential threat of him getting stolen by a team giving him a standard contract than the Heat giving him a standard deal right now. Kind of how I feel. He shouldn't have one. But you let me know. Today's pinned comment. Do the Heat need to create a roster spot? Type Y if you think they do. Type N if you think they are good and you want them to keep all 15 players on the roster they have right now. Now, I fully believe they do, but it's not even for the reason that you may think. It's not so they can go out and sign a Dame or Bradley Beal. Although I would be very interested with Dame Not so sure about Bradley Beal. We'll probably make a full video on him in the next coming days here. But the reason why I think it's so important to create a roster spot is to give you more flexibility in a potential trade. As things currently sit right now with 15 roster spots, you can't take more players back in a deal. You know how incredibly difficult it is to trade players like Andrew Wiggins and Terry Rozier right now? They make $28 and $26 million respectively. So if you are going to try to trade them, it is almost very, very certain that you are going to have to take back multiple players because to match salary, there just simply aren't many guys out there that teams are willing to give up that also make that same amount of money that Wiggins and Rozier make. Now, there is one example where you can send Rozier to Utah for John Collins. That is an anomaly. But when you're thinking about potentially moving on from Wiggins, there's nobody out there that can give you the exact $28 million in salary required with one contract. So that just complicates a deal potentially by having to make it a three-teamer because you can't take more than one player back. You get rid of a player and you have 14 roster spots. Well, now that gives you the potential ability to take back two players in a trade where you're sending out Rozier and Wiggins. Like, you need to create a roster spot just for more flexibility to trade those two. And we know that the number one thing that most people want to do with the rest of this offseason is not go out and acquire people in free agency. It's actually just trade the two veterans to get expiring salary and give you the ability to play your young guys like Yakonis, like Jovic, like Jaquez, like Larson, so you can see what you have in those guys for the future. You need to create a roster spot ASAP. And I'll also make this note here, folks. If the Heat make a trade, whether it's trading away Rozier finally or Andrew Wiggins or making a different deal, we will be going live on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed. Turn on notifications as well because we put out daily content and I don't want you to miss a thing. Speaking of an Andrew Wiggins trade, there is a new report out there. Greg Sylvander on, I forgot if it was Friday night or Saturday morning, reported on the 5 Reason Sports Off the Floor Discord. I would recommend subscribing if you haven't already. To keep an eye on the Los Angeles Clippers to trade for Andrew Wiggins. We already know that the Lakers in Los Angeles have registered the most interest in a potential Wiggins trade. Could you see a bidding war between the two Los Angeles teams going back and forth here? Now, speaking quickly on what a Clippers deal would likely look like, it would have to be a 3-team deal. I'm looking at their books, and I mentioned it. $28 million is what Wiggins makes. The only players that make even remotely close to that is Kawhi Leonard, who's making significantly more, and James Harden, who's making significantly more. Well, they're obviously not trading those two for Andrew Wiggins, so the next logical player they could deal is either Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's making $16.8 million, but he's also got 2 years left, which I don't know if he would want to take back a contract with 2 years guaranteed. And then the other player that would likely be dealt here is actually Norman Powell. Now, I don't know why the Clippers would want to get rid of Norman Powell. He was really good for them last year, but maybe they would go in for more of a defensive piece like Andrew Wiggins. But Powell's got 1 year left on his deal at $20.5 million. So you would need to attach another player to Powell to equals Wiggins' $28 million, which is why it would have to become a 3-team deal. I also don't envision Miami wanting Norman Powell, so what they would probably do is take in whatever extra salary would be added to Powell's contract for Wiggins in a 1-for-1, and then ultimately ship Norman Powell to a 3rd team, potentially for more draft capital heading to Los Angeles or us. You would imagine Miami is also eyeing a first-round pick in return from LA. They have 2030, 2031, or 2032 to offer. But if you're talking Clippers deal, that is the SparkNotes version of what you would expect there. But I think we might actually see more of a chance that a Lakers Andrew Wiggins trade could ultimately come to fruition soon. If you were not aware of what happened on Saturday, there was a couple trades out there between Memphis and Indiana for Jay Huff, but there was also a trade between Washington and Houston, where the Rockets sent Cam Whitmore to the Washington Wizards for 2 second-round picks. I actually really like that deal for Washington, and a quick side note here. But from Houston and Los Angeles perspective, those two teams allegedly talked about a potentially Cam Whitmore trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. And with another wing coming off of the board where the Lakers could not acquire, they might have to turn their attention to Andrew Wiggins and maybe put forth a better offer. We know Miami is wanting Dalton Connect and a first-round pick alongside expiring salary. Well, the Lakers have not been giving that up to this point. I would be fine with either of them, but Connect had a stinker in the first Summer League in the California Classic, shooting 3 of 13. If his stock continues to dip a little bit, you might see Miami get Galton Connect, expiring salary, and a first-round pick if the Lakers become a little bit desperate. If the Lakers want to compete this year and add a 3 to that four-man crew they have in their starting lineup now of Luka, Reeves, LeBron, and Ayton, they might have to push their chips to the table and ultimately pony up for a first and connect for Andrew Wiggins. All right, we'll move off of the rumors now, and we'll go into a reaction very quickly to Summer League Game 1 between Miami and the San Antonio Spurs. But before we get into that, I want to make sure you're hooked up because there is a Heat shirt right now on sale. $14 off, usually $30. You can get it for $16. We're going to go to chatsports.com/Heat shirt sale. Links in the description and comments of today's video. I love the gradient kind of text on the Miami Heat here and the logo since inception in 1988. I think it's a sweet shirt, and when you can get it for $14 off, practically 50%, I don't know how you don't take advantage of this. Sizes are running out. 2Xs are gone, so there's only smalls, medium, large, and extra large. Get yours today, chatsports.com/Heat shirt sale. One more time, description and comments is where you can find the link. All right, so the Heat took down the San Antonio Spurs 82-69 in Game 1 of their Summer League California Classic. They take on the Lakers on Sunday afternoon, and then they round out the California Classic on Tuesday against the Warriors before going to Vegas on Friday to start the real Summer League for all 30 NBA teams. But there were some takeaways I had that I wanted to quickly discuss on today's show. Number one, I was not happy with Kel'el Ware's effort. Just honestly, flat out, not acceptable. You are a player that Miami did not put you in terms of a Kevin Durant trade. It might have been the right decision, might have been the wrong decision. The point is, you cannot, as a second-year guy, you were not the Rookie of the Year last season. You were not even first-team All-Rookie. You do not have the right to show up to Summer League and not give max effort. The amount of times I saw him just watching his teammates fight for rebounds, it was honestly disappointing. And that's the biggest question about Ware when he was drafted a year ago, is that his motor was a serious question mark. I just don't want to see this. I don't want you to try to big league Summer League. You are not an established player to the point where you can show up your teammates, show up the organization, and not give 100% effort. I was flat out disgusted and disappointed with Kel'el Ware's effort last night. And the sad part is he still had 2 steals, 3 blocks, 14 points, and 7 boards. And I think he was giving you 75% effort. He could have absolutely dominated last night. I would have liked to see him get more paint touches and post touches as well. Shot 5 of 14 from the field. Couldn't hit a shot from 3. But if he plays on Sunday or the next time he plays, whether it's next Friday in real Summer League or Tuesday against the Warriors, I need to see better effort from your second-year player. All right, a lot of people panicked on Casper Yakonis after his Heat Summer League debut. I am not going to panic after his debut. It was a rough one. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat this. A lot of people know I've been hyping up this guy because he was 6th on my big board in this draft cycle, and I am pretty happy that Miami ultimately got him. But a 1-for-7 start, not ideal there, and especially when he matched it with 3 turnovers to 1 assist, only 3 points coming on a breakaway layup, went 1 of 2 at the line as well. It was not pretty for Casper Yakonis. Now, I'm not going to fully make the excuse that he was not used correctly, but I was a little bit frustrated with how Miami played with Yakonis yesterday. He was standing in the corner playing off ball. If you are planning on using him that way, then just write it down as a bust right now. That's not what Yakonis is. He is a true point guard that runs the offense and should be initiating most of this action for Miami. It was Paul Larson pretty much initiating every single half-court set yesterday for the Heat. And we know Miami in the summer leagues like to make their players feel uncomfortable, put them out of their comfort zone. So maybe it was intentional. You know what, Casper? We're going to play you off ball because we didn't see you do it a lot in Illinois. And Palau, you didn't play on ball at all this past season in the G League or on the main squad, so we're going to play you on ball. So I could see Miami doing that for a purpose, But if you are trying to get the best out of your young guy and know what he can bring to the table in his best role, you need to use him on ball more. Unsure if he's going to play in the back-to-back, but the next time we see Yakonis on the floor, I am going to expect better. I hope that he is used more correctly, and I am not panicking after the first game. Remember, Nikola Jovic, I know is a different tout of prospect here, but he also went 1 of 6 and had like 2 or 3 points in his first Summer League game. So I'm not going to overreact to the first one, but I want to see him used more correctly. Do you agree or disagree? Are you concerned about Casper Yakonis? Type C for concerned. Type F if you're feeling fine. I'd be typing my Fs, but let me know how you're feeling down below. All right, second to last takeaway here. Pallel Larson's a gamer. He's going to get real PT for Miami this year, and I'm excited for it. Didn't shoot that well yesterday, 4-12 from the field, but finished with 18 points. Was able to get to the line a lot, shooting 10 of 11 from the charity stripe. He used his physicality. He used his maturity to put other players in jail, get them out of position, and draw fouls. Wasn't able to knock down a shot from deep, 0-4, but I expect that to change. I think Larson is going to find himself in a very pivotal role this year for the Miami Heat. I expect him to be your 8th, 9th man potentially off of the bench. And did the Miami Heat find a new sniper? Eric Stevenson, although he's 26 years old, came off the bench and had 16 points and went 4 for 4 from 3. He was pretty good off the ball, I can't lie. Now, he did take a lot of shots, and he played more minutes than Yakonis, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. He played 23 minutes. Casper's played 22. But I'm definitely keeping my eye on Stevenson, who went 4-4 from 3. We know Miami has a history of finding random snipers out of nowhere. Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Cole Swider. We'll see if they found another one with Eric Stevenson. That will do it for today's show. Appreciate everybody who tuned in throughout the episode. Make sure you follow me over on Twitter if you have not already, at Nic_Rohloff. I'm talking Heat basketball every single day. I was live tweeting the Heat Summer League game because I'm a sicko, and I got the latest news and rumors as well over there before we make content here, so go give me a follow.